China, Iran, and Turkey, right, are they're working together in unison, but with China trying to control the Eurasian landmass. The goal for them is the Gulf Emirates, right? That's what will fuel them. That's one of the reasons we're not sending 14,000 troops over there in anti-missile we're energy dominant today. We're not energy independent. We're an exporter of energy. It's one of the reasons the Trump economic revolution is working, because they focus on energy dominance, right? The Persian Gulf is absolutely central. That's why they're trying to get off the Swiss system. As importantly, they're trying to get off the US dollar as the reserve currency. They're going to UAE. They're going to Saudi Arabia and saying, hey, you value Aramco $2 trillion, so do we. We'll buy a 10% stake, $2 trillion valuation. You don't have to shake down all the guys you did in the Ritz, right? You don't take it public, we'll do it. But you've got to take it in RMB, right? That's the problem. And that's why Hong Kong's so important to them. Remember, the reason I say we're in 1936, because we are, in 36, all the macroeconomic tools we had at the time, we kind of ran out of things. And that's why 38 was as big a dip as 32. And the reset button was hit, the Second World War. We're in a negative feedback loop with that right now. Negative interest rates by the Bank of Tokyo, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, right? And now the United States. Just over the weekend we find out, is the New York Fed, yes, New York Fed, what's the situation there? We have no idea. Remember, the day of the financial collapse, and this is the revolution you're fighting, the day of the financial collapse, September 17th of 2008, when they went into Bush and said, we have a crisis, we need $1 trillion. The balance sheet of the Federal Reserve was $880 billion. The day Donald Trump raised his hand, take the oath off, is $4.5 trillion. That's the greatest, it bailed out, if you owned assets, the greatest 10-year run in history. It bailed out the banks, the hedge funds, the commercial banks, and it was the greatest transfer of wealth under a progressive president in mankind's history, okay? That's what you're dealing with today. That's the oligarchs and serfs. That's why the kids under 30 years old, because there's a corollary to zero interest rates, right? It's a corollary to that 4.5 trillion. Richard Fisher, if you go back and look at the notes of the Federal Reserve, he said the middle class is going to be destroyed. For 2,000 years, we said get a wife, a mortgage, and a savings account, right? Savings accounts are zero. It's the reason that the millennials can't have family formations. The reason they don't own anything. It's because these negative interest rates. We are right now in that cycle, and one of the objectives is who controls the oil in the Middle East, and are the Chinese going to get it? And I think that's why you see 14,000 troops going there. And I think that unless we come together in something like common good and understand where the nation is, where the nation is headed, and what the nation's obligations and responsibilities are, we're going to hurtle into a kinetic war in 3, 4, 5 years.